You may fire when ready.
Welcome back. I give you a completed wall. I did it. For now. For now. Oof. Last video, I mentioned getting the Rebel base set minus figures and minus greeblies. So I have done that now. And I've mentioned before that the upgrade I did to this display is big enough that it's going to take me a very long time. I mean, it's never gonna be finished, right? Because I mean, it's a collecting thing. But what I needed to do was I needed to have all of the stuff on display. I needed to see how this new setup was going to work, how it was going to space out. I have more shelves, but they're actually lost like an inch or two from end to end. So, I didn't know what I was dealing with till I could get it all done. So, and I mentioned that in the last video, having the ships out and all of the greeblies are out, and that's anything from, crates to hoses to, whatever I need to make this make it look like a Rebel base. I also mentioned in the last episode that I'll do a proper tour, and so that we can get into, everything else that's going on in this room. But I wanted to focus on the Rebel base today, just to give you an idea again what this display looked like before I redid things. This is the old Rebel base here, and I think it works out to probably, I gained, if I can word it this way, like an extra shelf and a half, because some things remain the same, some things I've shifted around. Technically, and we're going to ignore the hallway up here. We're going to start here. So technically, this entire shelf here, finger, is new. It's a new space. The rest of it, if you look at the old setup again, some of the shelves have been, how do I word this? I had shorter shelves is what I had. So this is a little more uniform, having the three long shelves. This space here is existing from the old setup. Echo Base was not part of the main Rebel base. It was its own thing in the old setup. So in the old setup, you can see I have the Rebel sort of Yavin ready room. I have the pilot ready room, which the way I intended to do it is it was its own shelf, as you can see here. And I was, this is one of the very first things I'd ever done, sort of really building walls and using lights to any sort of extent. And the idea is if you got down on your knees, you could see through this window and you'd be able to see behind it. The idea being that's all you needed to see the room behind it, which is, I guess that's the ready room, right? That's the control room. That's the pilot ready room, I guess. Yeah, where they see the Death Star plans. My thinking was, who wants to look at a bunch of people sitting down? That's kind of boring. So it's like, well, there's a window. If you want to see it, you can look at it. At the end of the day, it ended up being a wasted space for a few reasons. Turns out I wanted to see some of the figures, and it just, like, when I had the chance to do something different, I did. So we'll get back to what I've done to this display. This will be the first one I'm going to talk about here. So yeah, you'll see the differences. I actually cut off a section of the shelf, and I've turned it sideways. Kept everything inside the way it is, and one of the things I've discovered is pretty much all of my, pretty much anything I worked on and built myself is going to have to be redone or fixed. It survived for the most part out in the garage for 3 months. October, yeah, 3.5 months. And so now that I've got it up and I'm using it, I'm seeing all the things that went wrong with it. You know, we have bricks off of this that have been broken off. Lost an entire set of lights that are embedded in the brick. These are the LED dollar store lights. There's one right there. That's actually the broken one. So, I mean, at some point, I don't know when, if I get a better idea, I'll redo this. I haven't really decided. But I like how this looks better than the old way, because to just look at it from straight on, you can see more figures. You can appreciate what's happening more. So this is my, like I said, the Rebel Base control room. We have 800 different plots going on. It's not meant to be canon. This is, in fact, oh, I forgot to charge that up. There's actually an iPod Touch under this display that I usually usually have a little video running. I'll see if I can find one. Control panel from Home 1 with a little bit of Lego on top. At the back here, I've repurposed some printer cartridges. Lit them up. It's kind of fun. This is one of those things where it's like, okay, for now and for what you can see, which is from back here, looks pretty good. I think I should probably have a new permanent solution. I've got some, I think these are G.I. Joe chairs, but they're sitting on some Lego pieces. So yeah, we'll fix that at some point. So that's that. And the brick you see, something I discovered a bunch of years ago. You glue cut them any way you want, and that's what I've done here. You can see over to here, like I said, we've got the Rebel Ready room. Always wanted to put an iPod in that spot and actually have it show on video. I don't think I want to do that now. I'll have to maybe just print out a screenshot of the Death Star plans and stick it on there. But we've got the Rebels. And this is one thing I do in my setup every time I change it is I'll have, from one setup to the next, there's scenarios that always remain. And I probably should have started with that, but I'll show you one in a minute. But this is one I always do. And it's basically Clone Trooper Rex joining the Rebels. You know, Kanan telling him, once you put that helmet down and pick up a new one. Whether or not he is at the Battle of Endor, you can decide for yourself. I thought it was fun. So that's always in my Rebel base in one form or another. And they're surrounded by sort of team, including some prune faces, couple 3 customs, a Jyn Erso on was it Yadu? Yadu?
He was dispatched from the installation on Edo.
Makes a great just Rebel figure. Another Jyn Erso body with a different head. So the Rebels hanging out. That's one scratch built diorama piece that I did. So just to say that I've made changes. I always make changes, and the cool thing is now that I have this all out and I'm experiencing it for the first time in months, it's like, okay, how do we move forward from this? And that's going to be what I'm doing going forward. Well, let's keep talking about these bricks here. So these were craft store bricks that I actually can't buy anymore. So, and you know, to be honest, if I was to do this entire thing full of those bricks, it would cost a lot of money. You see all these bricks down in this setup here. And, you know, talking about having the things out and ready, now comes the task of repairing and that sort of thing. I have a control booth that has to go into this empty space here. You know what? Let's go down one level further and I'll take care of these are so between the control room that I showed you and these two setups, this is where I use these bricks mostly. So on the bottom here, what I've put under here for the most part are doubles of ships. So you'll see that Power of the Force A-wing and this B-wing on other shelves. And I put them under here basically because you can't see. If you come into the room, this is basically that's basically as much as you can see that shelf. So I'm like, well, put something down there, but don't worry about how good you can see it if you have it someplace else. So that's that set up. And then sort of the main part of the hangar, just because it's got a giant bay door there. We got the U-wing. We got Gold Leader, Mr. Dutch Vander. Talking to some troops. Mentioned in a couple videos ago, this TIE fighter is going to become part of a vintage Marvel comic homage. So I still need to do that. I'll end up using some chain to actually hang that suspended. So that'll be fun to do. This is obviously Echo Base. So this is an existing setup. Luckily, no repairs had to be done, which is nice. Kind of a mishmash of stuff. The Power of the Force 2 turret. What's that, Legacy Edition, maybe? Can't quite remember. Lots of great figures going on in there. These are two things that I built using printouts from Diorama Workshop. And if we kind of tuck in there, you'll see some computer panels at the back. Some wiring. If we go up here, obviously Luke in the back of the tank. Again, I used the floors and that back wall there from Diorama Workshop. Everything else is just, stuff I threw together. Some styrofoam, a couple 3D printed, you get that in there? A couple 3D printed doors that I'll have to paint at this point. I haven't done that yet. And of course, Wampa Attack. That's fun to do. I got a kick out of putting that there. Who cares if it doesn't fit with the rest of it? You got to have the Wampa. This is just styrofoam, actually from, I believe, from like a TV set. And I sliced it in half with a hot foam knife and got some cool details. So it looks pretty good. Again, got those dollar store wire lights, some 3D printed Star Wars looking light panels there. And a couple of snow speeders. Recently restored my Kenner snow speeder. This is the Power of the Force 2 one. I'd love to have more snow speeders, but there's no place for them in something like this. This will probably be, when I get to it, the last thing I revisit. I really like how this one turned out. And when I'm taking pictures, it's great. All this empty wall up here. Again, from eye level, when you step into the room, you don't even see it. So that may stay the same. We're going to stop things right there, I think. This has gone a little bit longer than I thought it was going to go, so I thought I would split it into 2 videos. We'll come back for the next video, and we'll take a look at these top shelves up here. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.